You become a professional fighter. Level 0. The bell hasn't rung yet. You're standing in the corner of a cage in a casino ballroom in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and the lights above you are so bright they bleach everything white at the edges. 1,200 people are in the seats. You can hear them, but you can't see them past the first 3 rows. Your hands are wrapped so tight your fingers have gone slightly numb. Your corner man, a 53-year-old Cuban named Ricky, who has never once told you something you wanted to hear, is saying something in your ear that you are not processing. Across the cage, your opponent, a 26-year-old from Albuquerque named Danny Reyes, who has 15 professional fights and 12 wins and a right hand that broke a man's orbital socket 8 months ago, is shadow boxing. Loose, comfortable, like he's done this so many times it has become weather. You have been in this sport for 6 years. You have bled more than you thought a person could bleed and keep going. You have woken up at 4:30 in the morning in February to run 5 miles in the dark. You have cut 11 pounds of water weight in 36 hours and sat in a bathtub of ice at 2 in the morning and cried without making any noise because crying makes you use water you don't have. None of that is what you're thinking about right now. You're thinking about the first time you ever walked into a gym. Level 0, the gym. You are 17 years old and you have just watched a man named Marcus Webb knock someone unconscious on a pay-per-view you weren't supposed to be awake for, and something in your chest catches fire. Not because of the knockout specifically, because of what Marcus Webb's face looked like in the moment before it. Focused in a way you have never seen a human face look focused. Present in a way that makes everything else in your life, school, your father's apartment, the job at the grocery store, feel like it's happening behind glass. You find a gym 3 weeks later. It's on the second floor of a strip mall between a nail salon and a cell phone repair shop, in a part of your city that isn't the worst part, but is getting there. The sign says East Side MMA and Fitness, and the M in MMA is slightly crooked. Inside, the smell hits you first. Sweat and rubber and something chemical underneath both. The floor is covered in blue crash mats with the seams taped. Heavy bags hang from the ceiling in a row, most of them worn through at the bottom, to show the inner padding. A man is hitting one of them in a rhythm so fast and precise it sounds like a machine. His name is Ricky Dominguez. He is 47 at the time, with a retired professional record of 19 wins and 11 losses, and a nose that has been broken 4 times and reset 3. He runs the gym. He has been running it for 11 years. He looks at you when you walk in the way mechanics look at cars that have been driven too hard. He asks you what you want. You say you want to learn how to fight. He says everybody who walks in that door says that. He says most of them are gone in 6 weeks. He says the ones who stay are the ones who figure out fast that learning how to fight and wanting to fight are 2 entirely different things. He says the first one takes years and the second one takes a second, and only one of them keeps you alive. You don't know what that means yet. You nod like you do. He points you toward a speed bag in the corner and tells you to hit it. You miss it 3 times before you make contact. You are immediately the worst person in the room. There are 13-year-olds in this gym who move better than you do. You come back the next day, and the day after that. 3 months in, Ricky lets you spar for the first time. Your partner is a 20-year-old college student named Dre who outweighs you by 15 pounds and has been training for 2 years. Dre hits you in the nose in the first 15 seconds with a jab so clean and sudden you don't even feel it. You just see the room tilt, and then your eyes water involuntarily, automatically, without your permission, in a way that looks exactly like crying. You don't go down. That is the whole win for the day. Afterward, Ricky tells you that you have decent instincts and terrible technique, and that the 2 of those things together mean you'll either become something or get hurt badly. and that the difference between those two outcomes is whether you listen. You decide to listen. Level 1. The amateur. 8 months later, Ricky enters you in your first amateur fight. It's a regional tournament in a hotel conference room in a town 2 hours away. There are 6 fights on the card. The cage is a little too small and the mat is a little too slippery, and the announcer keeps mispronouncing your name. You weigh in at 153 pounds, which puts you in the middleweight bracket against a kid from a gym in Ohio who has already had 2 amateur fights and lost both of them. His name is Tyler Franks, and he is 6 feet 1 inch tall. And when you shake his hand at the weigh-in, his grip is loose and his eyes look somewhere past your ear. That bothers you. You want him to look at you, and he doesn't. The night of the fight, waiting in a hallway that smells like hotel carpet, your hands wrapped and your music in your ears, something happens to your body that nobody warned you about. Your legs go cold. Not from fear exactly, or not only from fear, but from the very specific understanding that in approximately 4 minutes, someone is going to try to hurt you on purpose, in public, with an audience watching. And the only thing between you and that hurt is 6 months of training that suddenly feels very thin. Ricky is beside you. He doesn't say anything. He puts his hand on the back of your neck for a second, the way a father might, and then he takes it away. The walkout is surreal. The crowd is maybe 200 people, mostly families of the other fighters, and the music is too loud and the lights are hot. And suddenly you're in the cage and Tyler Franks is across from you. And he is looking at you now, finally, and his eyes are very flat and very focused. The bell rings. Everything you have trained dissolves. Not all of it. Your feet move, your hands come up. You remember the fundamentals enough to not stand completely flat-footed. But the combination you have drilled 600 times, the one that is supposed to start every exchange, vanishes completely. You spend the first minute just trying to breathe and not get hit. Tyler catches you with a jab. Then another. Your eye swells on the second one. Fast. The way eyes do when the blood underneath the skin has nowhere to go. In the second round, something shifts. You stop trying to remember your training. You stop thinking. You throw a right hand because it is there to be thrown, and it connects flush on the side of Tyler's head, and he stumbles backward, and for 1 second, one perfect second, you see his eyes go slightly unfocused. You swarm him. You don't know what you're doing, but you do it fast and hard, and the referee steps in and waves his arms, and the crowd, 200 strangers who don't know your name, makes a noise that enters your body like electricity. You win by TKO in the second round. Ricky in the cage after says good. Just that. Good. You drive home at midnight and eat an entire pizza in the car and feel more alive than you have ever felt in your life. Level 2. The circuit. The next 2 years are a blur of gas stations and sports halls. You fight 11 times on the regional amateur circuit. You win 8 of them and lose 3, including a loss by rear naked choke to a wrestler from Penn State named Kowalski, who takes you down in the first 20 seconds and makes you spend 4 minutes being strangled slowly enough that you have time to feel every second of it before you tap. That loss stays with you in a specific way. You go back and watch the footage 17 times. You fix your takedown defense. You start wrestling 6 days a week. The wins accumulate, so does the damage. By the end of your amateur career, you have had your nose broken twice, 4 ribs cracked on 2 separate occasions, a small tear in your MCL that you trained through for 3 months before seeing a doctor, and a cut above your left eye from an elbow that needed 11 stitches and left a scar you will have for the rest of your life. You are 19 years old. You get a call from a regional promoter named Gary Stills, who has promoted fights in the Northeast for 12 years. and who speaks extremely fast and uses the phrase, at the end of the day, 6 times in the first 2 minutes of your conversation. Gary says he has been watching your last 4 fights. He says he thinks you're ready to turn pro. He says he can get you on a card in 2 months. You call Ricky. Ricky is quiet for a long time. He asks you what you want. You say you want to fight. He says that's not what he asked. He says he'll train you either way, but he wants you to understand what either way means. You think about the grocery store. You think about Tyler Franks going slightly unfocused. You think about Marcus Webb's face in the moment before he knocked someone out. You go pro. Level 3. The decision. The first year of your professional career, you make $11,000. You fight 4 times. You win 3 and lose 1. The loss coming in your third professional fight against a veteran named Santos, who has been fighting professionally for 8 years and who systematically takes you apart for 3 rounds in a way that is not brutal, so much as completely inevitable, the way a math problem resolves. Like, you were always going to lose this fight, and Santos has simply been waiting for the date to be confirmed. You drive a 2009 Honda Civic with a broken air conditioner. You live with 2 other fighters in a 3-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom and a kitchen that smells like protein powder and old rice. Ricky charges you reduced training fees, which still, some months you struggle to pay. You work 12 hours a week at a sporting goods store to cover rent. You cut weight for every fight now. At 170, you naturally walk around at 182, which means every fight camp ends with 72 hours of systematic dehydration that leaves you irritable and foggy and slightly dangerous to be around. Ricky monitors it. He has seen fighters hospitalized. He has a specific look he gives you when the cut is going wrong, and you have learned to fear that look more than the cut itself. Your father, who did not understand what you were doing when you started and does not fully understand it now, comes to your 4th professional fight with your younger sister. You win by unanimous decision. Your sister cries. Your father shakes your hand in the parking lot afterward and says you looked good out there. And something in the way he says it, carefully, like he's choosing the words, tells you he is both proud of you and scared for you in equal measure, and that the scared part is slightly larger. You don't tell him about the headaches. They started after the Santos fight, not immediately, but 2 weeks later, waking you up at 3 in the morning with a specific pressure behind your left eye that is different from any headache you've had before. They go away after a few days and don't come back for a month. You don't mention them to Ricky. You don't mention them to anyone. You tell yourself it's nothing. Level 4. The grind. Year 2 of your professional career, you move to Las Vegas. Not because Vegas is glamorous, it isn't. Not the part of Vegas you can afford, but because the training is there. Specifically because a gym called Pinnacle MMA is there, run by a former UFC welterweight champion named James Iceman Cole, who has produced 3 world champions in the last 5 years and who, Ricky, after a phone call you were not present for, has convinced to give you a 2-week trial. Ricky drives you to the airport. He doesn't come with you. He has a gym to run and fighters to train, and he is 53 years old and has been to Las Vegas once and didn't like it. He carries your bag to the curb, and then he looks at you for a long moment. He says, "You are going to be the worst person in that gym for at least a year." He says, "Don't let that stop you." He says, "Call him after every fight." You land in Las Vegas in July when it is 108 degrees and take a $30 cab to a furnished room you're renting from a woman named Patricia, who asks no questions and leaves a clean towel outside your door every Sunday. The first day at Pinnacle, you are the worst person in the gym. This is not a surprise, Ricky told you, but the specific texture of it is. These are not regional circuit fighters. The man hitting pads in the far corner has a fight on ESPN next month. The woman doing bag work near the window is ranked 7th in the world at her weight class. They move with an efficiency and violence that makes your regional circuit experience feel like you've been playing a different sport entirely. The head coach at Pinnacle is not James Cole. He runs the business and occasionally coaches, but his actual attention costs more than you have. Your coach is a 32-year-old former kickboxing champion named Marco, who speaks with a slight Portuguese accent and who communicates primarily through demonstration rather than explanation. He watches you spar for one session and then spends the next 3 weeks systematically dismantling everything you think you know about striking and rebuilding it from the ground. It is the hardest 3 weeks of your life. At the end of it, Marco tells you you can stay. Level 5. The team. The people who train at Pinnacle become your world. There is Darius, a light heavyweight with a 9-2 record and a right hand that has ended 4 careers, who becomes your sparring partner and then your closest friend. There is Sophia, who competes at strawweight and who has the most precise elbows you have ever seen from 18 inches, and who makes you better just by making you survive her. There is an older heavyweight named Big Earl who has been at Pinnacle for 6 years and who has never quite made it to the level everyone thought he would, and who carries that weight quietly every day in a way that teaches you more about this sport than any coach has. You train twice a day, 6 days a week. You eat what Marco tells you to eat. You sleep 9 hours. Your entire existence narrows to a point. The gym, the food, the sleep, the gym again. And inside that narrowness, something starts to happen to your fighting. You go on a run. 4 wins, 5 wins, 6 wins in a row, all in the first or second round, all by finish. Your regional reputation expands nationally. Gary Stills, who promoted your early fights, calls to congratulate you and to remind you he still has you under contract for 2 more fights, and you should call him back about scheduling. You do not call Gary Stills back. After your 6th straight win, a submission win over a ranked opponent named Ortega that gets posted to social media and accumulates 3 million views in 48 hours, you get a call from a number you don't recognize. It is a matchmaker from the AFC, the Atlantic Fighting Championship, the largest MMA promotion in the world. He says they've been watching you for a while. He says they have a spot on a card in 4 months. He says, welcome to the show. You sit in your car in the Pinnacle parking lot for 20 minutes after the call ends, not moving, watching the heat come off the asphalt. Then you call Ricky. Level 6. The ranking. Your AFC debut is on the undercard of a pay-per-view in Houston. You fight a Brazilian named Cavalcante, who has an 8-inch reach advantage and a jiu-jitsu game that has submitted 14 of his 17 opponents. The fight lasts 4 minutes and 22 seconds. You catch him coming in with a left hook that drops him, follow him to the ground, and finish with ground and pound while the referee is still moving. The broadcast team watching the replay says your name 11 times in 3 minutes. You are ranked 15th in the world at welterweight. You are 23 years old. The next 18 months are different from anything that came before. The fights get bigger, main cards, then co-main events, then your name appearing in promotional graphics in font that is noticeably larger than it was a year ago. The opponents get better, which means the damage gets more specific. You learn that every fighter at this level has found the thing that hurts you. Cavalcante found it was pressure. A Norwegian wrestler named Bjornsson found it was takedowns, putting you on your back twice in 3 rounds, before you figured out how to get up and win a split decision that felt more like a loss than most of your losses. A knockout artist from Chicago named Price found it was the straight right hand down the middle, landing it 3 times in 1 round before you adjusted, and took him out with a body kick in the 4th. The headaches are more frequent now. You see a doctor who is not connected to the gym. He asks questions you answer carefully. He tells you to reduce sparring. You reduce it slightly and tell Marco you've reduced it significantly. Darius, who has watched you in the gym every day for 2 years, notices. He doesn't say anything. He just starts going lighter with you in sparring sessions without being asked, pulling punches by 20% in a way you both pretend isn't happening. You are ranked 6th in the world. There are 5 people between you and Danny Reyes. Level 7. The Contender. The AFC puts you on a main event for the first time. The fight is in New York, Madison Square Garden. The opponent is a former interim champion named Victor Cross, who has been fighting professionally for 11 years and who lost the interim title 2 years ago on a controversial split decision, and has been working his way back ever since. Victor Cross is 31, and his chin is not what it used to be, and everyone in the sport knows this, including Victor Cross, who fights like a man trying to get somewhere before something catches up to him. The week before the fight is the first time you understand what the machine actually is. There is a press conference where you and Victor Cross sit at opposite ends of a table and answer questions from journalists for 45 minutes. Victor Cross says you're young and inexperienced. You say he's old and shot. The crowd in the room, which is made up mostly of media and promotional staff, reacts to both statements with the enthusiasm of people watching theater that has been staged specifically for them. Because it has. After the press conference, the AFC's media team tells you they need 4 hours of your time tomorrow for content. They need you in a specific jacket. They have already written social media posts for you to approve. They have a narrative for the fight, the veteran versus the rising star, and they would like your cooperation in delivering it. You cooperate. You are not naive. This is the machine, and the machine has made you a main event at Madison Square Garden, and you understand the transaction even if nobody has stated it explicitly. The fight itself is the best of your career. You and Victor Cross go 5 rounds in front of 18,000 people. And the noise in that building is a physical thing, something you feel in your chest and your jaw. And Victor Cross is everything they said he was. Smart, experienced, dangerous. And you are everything you have spent 6 years building yourself into. You knock him down in the 3rd round with a left hook that has been your best weapon since Ricky first let you spar. He gets up. He hurts you in the 4th with a combination that briefly puts the lights on dim. That specific sensation of the brain processing threat before the body is caught up. You survive it. You win by unanimous decision. In the cage, microphone in hand, 18,000 people making noise. You say Ricky's name. Back in New Jersey, watching on a television in the gym he has run for 15 years, Ricky Dominguez nods once and turns the volume down. You are ranked 2nd in the world. Danny Reyes is ranked 1st. Level 8, the title shot. The fight is announced 4 months later. Atlantic City, the Atlantic Grand Casino, 1,200 seats, the AFC Welterweight Championship. Danny Reyes versus you with the title on the line. The camp is 12 weeks, and it is the hardest 12 weeks of your life, and you have had some hard weeks. Marco pushes you past what you thought you could do, and then past that. Darius, preparing for his own fight, still comes in on Saturdays to push you. Sophia, who has her own title fight in 2 months, still finds time to work with you on the clinch, which is Danny Reyes' best position and your worst. 6 weeks out, Ricky flies to Las Vegas. He doesn't tell you he's coming, he just appears at the gym on a Tuesday morning. Older than you remember, though it's only been a year since you've seen him in person, and watches your entire training session from a folding chair near the door. Afterward, he pulls Marco aside and they talk for 20 minutes in low voices. You watch them from across the gym and feel 12 years old. After Marco leaves, Ricky sits with you. He says you're better than when you left his gym. He says that's because of Marco and because of you. He says Danny Reyes is the best opponent you've ever faced by a significant margin, and that the fight will come down to the third round, because the first two will be feeling out, and the championship rounds afterward will be about who has the better gas tank, and Danny Reyes' gas tank is historically very good. You ask him if he thinks you can win. He is quiet for a moment. Then he says, I think you're the kind of fighter who finds out who he is when it matters. I think you've been finding out for 6 years. I think Atlantic City is just the next finding out. You hug him. You are 25 years old, and you're about to fight for the world championship. And Ricky Dominguez is 53, and his nose has been broken 4 times. And he has spent 15 years in a gym above a strip mall because he loves the sport. And you love him for it in a way you will never have the right words for. The weight cut begins at 10 days out. At 182 pounds, getting to 170 means 12 pounds of water in 10 days. You have done this before, but not for this. The last 3 days are the ones. No water, no food past 6 the night before. The sauna, the plastic suit, the ice bath you sit in at 2 in the morning, while Marco sits beside you on an overturned bucket, checking your color and your coherence every 20 minutes. The morning of the weigh-in, you are 169.8 pounds and your hands are shaking. You step on the scale. The number holds. 12 hours later, rehydrated, you are 179 pounds, and the shaking has stopped and you can think clearly again. Ricky tapes your hands in the hotel room, while Danny Reyes is presumably in a different hotel room having his hands taped, and the quiet in the room is the specific quiet of before. Which brings you back to the corner of the cage in the casino ballroom in Atlantic City, New Jersey, with 1,200 people in the seats and the lights bleaching everything white at the edges, and Ricky's voice in your ear saying something you are not processing. The referee waves you to the center. You touch gloves with Danny Reyes. He finally looks at you. The same way Tyler Franks finally looked at you in that hotel conference room in Ohio 8 years ago. And his eyes are flat and focused, and you understand now, from the inside, what that means. The bell rings. The first round is exactly what Ricky said it would be. Feeling out. Danny Reyes is fast. Faster than you expected, even having watched his last 12 fights. His jab lands twice in the first 30 seconds, and both times it snaps your head back with a precision that tells you exactly how good he is. You land a body kick in the second minute that makes him adjust his guard. You feel him calculating you the way Santos calculated you 4 years ago. Except this time, you are not the same fighter Santos took apart, and you know it. Second round, you hurt him. A left hook, your left hook, the one from Marcus Webb's pay-per-view, filtered through Ricky's gym and Marco's gym and 6 years of 5 a.m. mornings, lands on the hinge of Danny Reyes' jaw in the 45th second of the round, and his legs go momentarily wrong. The crowd noise is a wall. You swarm him the way you swarmed Tyler Franks in that hotel conference room, except you are now an entirely different kind of dangerous, and Danny Reyes is not Tyler Franks, and he survives the round and comes back in the third. The third round nearly ends it the other way. Danny Reyes' right hand finds you in the second minute. The same right hand that broke a man's orbital socket 8 months ago, and the lights go dim and the crowd goes far away. And you are operating entirely on the thing that Ricky named, and that you have spent 6 years building. You clinch. You survive. You work to the bell. Fourth round, fifth round. The championship rounds. You are both bleeding. Your right eye is swollen to a slit. Danny Reyes has a cut on his forehead from an elbow in the fourth that the doctor checked twice at the between-round break. The crowd, 1,200 people who paid to be in this room, are standing. Final bell. You find Ricky across the cage. His face tells you nothing. The judges' scorecards are red. The referee takes your wrist and Danny Reyes's wrist a long second. Your wrist goes up. The noise that 1,200 people make in a casino ballroom when a decision is announced is enormous and immediate, and it enters your body the same way it did the first time. 200 people in a hotel conference room in Ohio. Except you are 25 years old now, and your eye is swollen shut, and your hands are shaking slightly from something that is not the weight cut this time. And Ricky Dominguez is climbing through the cage door, and his eyes are wet for the first and only time you have ever seen them wet. And he puts both hands on the sides of your face and says, "Good, just that." Level 9. The cost. 3 days after the fight in a hotel room in Atlantic City, you sit on the edge of the bed at 4 in the morning and do an inventory. Your right eye still partially swollen, now yellowing at the edges. 2 cracked ribs confirmed at the post-fight medical that make breathing sharply feel like a finger being pressed into something that isn't ready. A deep bruise on your left thigh from a kick you don't remember taking in the 5th round. Cuts on both knuckles. The headache behind your left eye that started 2 days ago and is sitting quietly. The way it always sits quietly. The way it has been sitting quietly for 2 years. On the nightstand, the AFC Welterweight Championship belt, which you have not yet moved, which is heavier than it looks, which cost you 8 years and 3 broken noses and 11 stitches, and the tendons in your left shoulder that will never be quite right again, and a relationship with a woman named Janelle that ended in year 3 because she couldn't watch you fight and you couldn't stop. You think about what comes next. There will be a rematch with Danny Reyes probably. There are 2 other ranked contenders the AFC is already discussing publicly. Your contract is up for renegotiation, and your manager, a man named Phil who has been your manager for 18 months and takes 15%, is already in conversations with the promotion about the new terms. You pick up the belt. You hold it. You think about Ricky's gym above the strip mall, the crooked M in the sign, the smell of sweat and rubber and something chemical underneath. A 17-year-old kid watching a pay-per-view he wasn't supposed to be awake for and feeling something catch fire in his chest. You don't know yet what the headaches mean. You know what they might mean. You set the belt back down on the nightstand. You lie back on the bed. You close your eyes. Tomorrow, Ricky flies home. Tomorrow, Phil starts making calls. Tomorrow, the machine that has your name in large font on promotional graphics begins the process of turning what happened tonight into the next thing. The thing after this. The next fight, and the next camp, and the next weight cut. Tonight, in a hotel room in Atlantic City, you are the welterweight champion of the world. And you are alone with it, and it is exactly as large and exactly as quiet as you always imagined it would be. And also something more. Something you don't have a word for yet. Something you'll spend a long time looking for. Outside the window, Atlantic City is still going. The casinos never close, the lights never go off. Everything that happened tonight, the cage, the bell, Ricky's face, Danny Reyes's right hand, the left hook landing in the 45th second, is already becoming the past. The cycle continues.